What's going on, guys? Today we're going to be replacing the shift boot and shift boot retainer in this Integra Type S with the Billetworkz Alcantara Premium Shift Boot and Boot Retainer. This car already does have our Billetworkz Fusion with Alcantara, but the installation process would be the same if you did have a OEM knob. It's a pretty straightforward install, so let's get into it. The reason why we're going to be swapping out the OEM boot is it has this strange 3-angle design. We want something a little bit more sleek, so we're going with the twin stitch down the middle pattern that we have on our shift boot here. So either if you have an aftermarket shift knob or a OEM shift knob, the first thing we need to do is reveal the lock nut, and to do that you push down on the boot retainer and it will reveal a 14mm nut that we need to break loose. And to do that, you're going to just hold the knob, put your wrench on, and break it loose. Once that's loose, we can go ahead and unscrew the shift knob and take off the lock nut. Now we can move on to separating the trim so we can get everything out. I recommend using a trim tool for this. You're just going to get in between these two pieces with a trim tool and just work your way until it comes loose. And then for the back top piece here, I just pulled up on it and it all came loose. So we can go ahead and pull all this out like that. Now that we pulled the trim off, we can push the boot retainer through on the OEM boot, and we can cut the zip tie that they have right here holding in the boot retainer. And then once that's cut, we can just go ahead and pull out the factory boot retainer and set that to the side. Now that the boot retainer is out, we are going to flip it over so we have the trim piece like this, revealing the 4 screws that are actually holding the boot in place. And we're going to go ahead and take out these 4 screws. Now that the 4 screws are out, we're going to push on this tab and pull on the trim piece that actually has the boot attached like this. Then once it starts to pry up, you can just simply pull and the shift boot will separate from the trim. Now to separate the OEM boot from the trim, we actually have to take off these staples. So you're going to need a really small flathead, and you're just going to get into the staples and pry them out. And then I'll flip it over and I'll pry it from the back side so it comes through. Ooh, was that it? Yep. Using a pair of pliers could make this a little bit easier, but if you wiggle it, it'll separate it. Now we just have to do that for the rest. We have the last staple out, and we're going to go ahead and fold these tabs over like this, all the way around. And then the boot should be able to just pull it right on out like this. Before I put the shift boot onto the trim piece, just to notice on how it goes in, these back trim pieces here are going to be wider than the pieces that go onto the front here. So this back piece with the wider trim pieces will go on this section of the trim piece. So what you do is you're going to slide a tab through, and then you lock it into place on these little hoops right here. And we're going to do that and work our way around the entire boot. Now that we have the tabs through, we're going to install these supplied retaining clips, and those just slide over like this, and you just go ahead and press them on down. And we're just going to do that the whole way around. We get the last retainer clip in, and now we are good to put this back into the trim. So we're just going to reverse what we did earlier. Clip it back into place and get those 4 screws put in here. All right, now that the screws are in, we're going to flip it over and slide the boot down the shifter, but we are not going to clip any of the trim into place just yet. Then we're going to screw on our Billetworkz boot retainer all the way down. Now we're going to go ahead and thread on the Billetworkz shift knob. Your adapter should already be inserted, but for some reason if it came and it's not, just go ahead and put that in now. But since it is, we're going to go ahead and thread that on to the shift rod. This shift knob does have a shift pattern on the top here. So to align your shift pattern on your Billetworkz knob, all you do is align the pattern up straight, and then you're going to tighten the boot retainer up to your knob. Then you're going to take the Billetworkz install wrench that you can add on to your order. You're going to hold your shift knob and tighten the boot retainer up to the shift knob. Now we're going to go ahead and install the boot to the boot retainer. And we're going to just pull up and make sure the boot is flush, the stitching is straight, and we will get the zip tie started. Get the zip tie pre-started, pull up on the boot until it is sitting nicely on the boot retainer. And then we're going to take our zip tie and tighten it down. Before I fully snug it down, I just like to make sure the stitching is straight and lined up. I'm going to go ahead and trim off the excess. Fold everything down, and we can snap everything back into place. And the installation is all done. And that does it for the installation of the Billetworkz Premium Alcantara shift boot in this Integra Type S. We also offer a red Alcantara if you want to have a little more contrast in your interior too as well. And like always, be sure to shop Billetworkz.com to shop other accessories for your Acura Integra. Thanks, see you next time.